All right, guys, I am here today with the expert. Got an awesome topic for you. I'm here today with Chris Green, the flood insurance guru, and I want to talk about flood insurance because it has been raining a lot here in Arizona, and I get the question all the time because in my email signature, I specifically state your homeowner's policy does not cover flood insurance. So I get the question all the time. People ask me, well, what about the pipes bursting in my house? So Chris, can you explain when I say your home insurance does not cover flood insurance, what are they talking about?
Well, actually, I did a video on this a couple months ago about what's the difference between water damage, water backup, and flood.
Mhm.
Flood insurance pays out in two situations. A property has to be inundated with water from outside the home, or 2 acres has to be flooded. Now, it's got to be at least two properties or more, and it's got to be surface water. So when a pipe backs up in your house, that's going to be water backup coverage. Or if you've got water damage, it depends how the water got there. Like, for example, a big thing in Minnesota right now is seepage in basements from snow. That's not covered.
Got it. Got it. Okay, so we're talking about water coming from outside the house, surface water.
And Arizona actually has more floods every year than any state in the entire country.
That is interesting. I did not know that, and I live in Arizona. That's
Yeah,
why
they
you're
have
the flood insurance expert.
40 to 100 floods every year.
Wow. Okay. So then tell me this, how do I know I live in Arizona? I wouldn't think I would need flood insurance. How do you know if you need flood insurance?
Everyone needs it because you never know, most of flooding that occurs, for example, in the low risk zones where someone says, hey, you don't have to have flood insurance. That's actually where 30% of flooding occurs because of flash flooding. Well, the number one reason for flooding in Arizona is flash flooding during monsoon season.
Yep.
All these houses that are not in those high risk areas, the reason they're going to flood is because most of Arizona is what's called an AO zone. And that's when you have this incline where the water comes down and it's got nowhere to go. So it just settles at the bottom. And that's usually where there's a neighborhood or something like that.
Okay. Okay. Good to know. Um, so my last question, is it expensive and can I buy it? You mentioned monsoon season. Can I buy it just during those 3 or 4 months of monsoon season? Or do I have to have a year-long annual policy?
All right, if you go through the National Flood Insurance Program, you have to have a year-long policy. Now, you still got, going through the private market, you still got to pay the whole year up front, but you can prorate it after wet season, I call it. I just shot a video and did a blog on this actually for California after the recent flooding this past weekend. Did one for Minnesota as well. You can buy a flood policy in Arizona just for wet season. It has to go through the private market. And there's a couple of things you want to pay attention to. They have what's called fees and minimum earned premium. So let's just say they have a minimum earned premium of 50%. That means that you won't get back any less than 50%. But if it's 25%, it means you're not going to get back any less than 75%. So those are things to pay attention to. But with the National Flood Insurance Program, there's no way to cancel that unless you were in a high-risk flood zone and they moved you to a low-risk flood zone. That's really the only way that can happen.
Okay. And you can help with both of those, right? Either type of
Yeah,
policy.
we do a lot of policies. I actually got a client in Colorado. We did 31 restaurants for them just for wet season. So they had a policy for 4 months. They paid about $15,000 for it. And when we sent them the refund back, it was for about $12,000.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Well, I am going to list, Chris, your information down below. So if you guys need flood insurance, that's not me. I will happily direct you to Chris. He will help you all things flood. If you have any questions, I'm going to link his info below. You can contact him, and I'm sure he'll be happy to help you out.
If you want to check out our YouTube channel, that's where we have our daily flood videos and our podcast, The Flood Insurance Guru, which is on iTunes and Spotify.
Perfect. I'll list all that below. Awesome. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.